like to think of the human body like a car. We jump in and carry on with our daily functions, hardly thinking of what's taking place under the hood, until one day, something or everything just stops working. We visit the mechanic and find out it could have been prevented if we just checked the engine on a regular basis. When it comes to our bodies, we're not that much different. Most people visit a doctor when something is wrong. Rarely do we stop to think of the type of maintenance the body deserves when we're feeling perfectly fine.
Generally speaking, people do tend to present only if they feel unwell. So somebody would more likely present with a cough and cold than to present to say, okay, can I kindly get a pap smear done, usually.
Dr. Melissa Diaz is a family medicine specialist, which means that she sees and treats people of all ages and genders, focusing mainly on the needs of the entire family from birth to elderly. Her primary focus, though, is one of preventative medicine.
Preventative medicine generally could be defined as a consultation done between a doctor and a generally well patient, and it encompasses a medical history, a physical exam, lab tests and screening tests. And what it tries to do is to try to detect risk factors or predisposing factors that a patient may have for certain preventable diseases like diabetes and hypertension. And it also focuses on screening examinations to try to pick up any early signs and symptoms of certain diseases like breast cancer, cervical cancer, or any other diseases. So it's important because we do know that non-communicable diseases like diabetes and hypertension are very prevalent in many communities. And in fact, in Belize, cardiovascular disease and diabetes are some of the leading causes of morbidity and mortality in our country.
What better way to take charge of your health than to find the problems even before they start? This is done through a routine annual medical examination. While this is a standard practice in more developed countries, in Belize, the practice is just starting to take root.
It is picking up a bit more, I think, in large companies as well. The human resource departments are doing a lot of promotion to try to encourage people to come in for the annual examination. A part of it is, as I mentioned before, people feel well. And because you feel well, you don't necessarily feel that it's necessary to present to a doctor. But the importance of presenting for your annual is to keep you feeling well. The annual examination follows similarly to any consultation. So we'd like to do a medical history. And in the medical history, talking about any concerns or any problems that the person may have. Included in this is also a past medical history. Has a doctor in the past said that you're overweight? Has a doctor said that you've had borderline high blood pressure or high blood sugar? And a family history, which is very important because both non-communicable diseases as well as some certain cancers have a genetic predisposition. It's important to know if you smoke. How many cigarettes do you smoke? Do you drink alcohol? What's your diet like? Do you have any stresses at home? Any stresses in the workplace? And once we find out all this, then we move on to start your physical examination. And a thorough physical examination will include some important aspects. For instance, we need to know your weight and your height. That helps us to calculate your body mass index. So we'd know if you're normal weight, underweight, overweight, or obese. And then we also would do the blood pressure readings. And blood pressure is very vital because hypertension is one of the diseases that we're trying to prevent. So your blood pressure readings would be normal, pre-hypertensive, or abnormal over 140/90. And at that point, you'd know you'd have to see this person more often to try for that blood pressure to be better controlled. Included in your physical examination, we'd also check the heart, the lungs, with consent, do a breast examination and an abdominal examination.
In a routine annual medical, lab tests will be requested as well. Through a single blood sample, the doctor will know your blood count, whether you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, your cholesterol and triglyceride levels, how well your kidney and liver are functioning. Also included in your lab work is a urine analysis. Cancer screening tests will be dependent on family history and age.
For example, if you have a woman who is aged 21 to 64, at that point you should suggest doing a pap smear. And the national guidelines suggest that you should do a pap smear annually, and if you have 3 consecutive normal pap smears, you go on to do every 3 years. If you have a woman 40 to 64, you would suggest a mammogram. And the mammogram, of course, is looking for early signs of breast cancer, early changes in the breast that could lead to breast cancer. If you have a male who is 50 and over, you'd ask them to do a PSA test, which is the prostatic specific antigen blood test, and that, along with a digital rectal examination, helps to detect early prostate cancer as well. And male or females between older than 50 and older should also think about screening for colorectal cancers by doing, the gold standard is a colonoscopy.
Dr. Diaz notes that she does have patients that come in voluntarily for their annual medical. A very routine checkup may cost a minimum of $150, and there are more affordable options at public clinics. She also suggests checking your insurance to see if it is covered.